are learning the end of Perak Mokum Shinagu, catching up. For those that were not with us on Shabbos afternoon, catching up the Amud from Shabbos, which was Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, going on to the little bit at the top of Nun Zayin Amud Beis before tomorrow we begin the Prakim dealing with Karbanis, the Karban Talmud, and the Karban Pesachim, and Karban Pesach, and everything to do with what was called Maseches Pesach Sheni, meaning the Masechta that deals with all of the halachas of Pesach, which Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach we will be discussing tomorrow. But before we get there, we are at the bottom of Daf Nun Vav Amud Beis, and today we are today's learning is the Amudim for Shabbos Kodesh, the 17th, and then Yom Rishon this week, the 18th of Chodesh Mar Cheshvan, and we have 2 lines from the bottom of the page on Nun Vav Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabban, the Rabbanan taught in the Brisa as follows: Bari Shana. Once upon a time, at the beginning, we are going back to the Machlokes, or the discussion, the debate with regards to Yericho and the Chachamim in Yericho versus the Chachamim of the mission that disagreed with them, and we'll see that there were legitimate opinions that the community of Yericho had, and we are now going to try to ascertain a little bit further with regards to those discussions. Says the Gemara, Dan Rabban, the Rabbanan taught as follows: Barishana, once upon a time, at the beginning, how you nice and pela lefes. The people of Yericho would leave a pair for lefes lechruf. They would leave a pair for turnips and for cabbage. Rabbi Yossi tells us af lekiflut. They would also do it for kiflut, which is Rashi tells us here. Kiflut was some kind of green kind of vegetable, as we'll see in a moment. That some kind of leek or maybe a spring onion. Tiny Elech, and we have another brayso that says. That at the beginning they were leaving behind pair for lefes and kiflot, for turnips and for leeks. Rabbi Shimon says they would do it for cabbage as well. It says the Gemara, name it tonight. Maybe we should say that there are 3 Tanaim listed here. There's the Tanakama of Rabbi Yossi, there's the Tanakama of Rabbi Shimon, and then there's Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon. Says the Gemara, no, like. Trade Tanai Hava. There's only 2 Tanaim here. The Tanakama of Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yossi, and the Tanakama in the Brisa that lists Rabbi Shimon's opinion is Rabbi Yossi. The Tanakama of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon, and the Tanakama that's listed in the Brisa that quotes Rabbi Yossi's opinion is Rabbi Shimon. Meaning that there's only 2 opinions. There's only Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon, and when the Brisas quoted them, there was a Tanakama and then the opinion of the named Tana. So this is my af. And what does it mean even? So when the Brises were quoted, they said af. Rabbi Shimon says even for af lechruf, and Rabbi Yossi had said af lekiflut. So what does the af mean? Even for? So we say akamaisa. It means to the first ones that are already mentioned. The first Tana had said turnips and cabbages, and Rabbi Yossi says for leeks, meaning that was at the beginning that was what was going on with the Anshe Yericho. Af means in addition to that which was said before. Tana Rabbanan, we have a brayso that taught as follows: Ben Boyan, the son of a man by the name of Boyan, Nasan Pear Yerik, he would give pear from vegetables, meaning section of a portion of the field, and he would give pear from vegetables. It seems to be that he was from Yericho or followed the opinion of the people from Yericho. When his father came along, and he saw poor people that were carrying the vegetables out of the field. And they were standing by the entrance of the garden. He said to them, Banai, my sons, don't take this. This is not pear. Don't take, throw it off of your shoulders. And I will give double the amount of meiser produce to you. Meaning, I'll make sure that you have plenty. Rashi says, "Garsin va'ani etain lahem kiflaim." Sheyesh lachem achshav pe'ah. Etain lachem chulin mesukanim usharim. What will I give to you? I will give you chulin that has already that has already had all the trumas of meisers taken from him. Meaning, he's not giving them meiser. That would be inappropriate. what he's giving them is chulin that was already ready to go. You don't have to worry about anything. And he says, and it's not because I'm stingy that I don't want you to take this. It's because the Chacham said that this is not payah. What you're taking is not in accordance with the din. So I have no problem. I will give you double. I'll give you double the amount of what you have in stuff that you can take home and eat immediately. You don't have to take off trumas, you don't have to take off maseches, you don't have to nothing. But don't take this, because this is not supposed to be payah. So says the Gemara, why does he have to what does he have to couch it? Why does he have to have this big statement? I don't think that I am being stingy. Don't think that I'm stingy. So that people don't say that he's just trying to push us away. Meaning, don't. Once you drop it, then he's going to kick you out, or he's not going to give you what he says he's going to give you. He has to announce it that so that people don't think that he's making excuses, because that would be then Echil Hashem, that you are now pinning on the Rabban. The rabbi said, I'm not allowed to give this to you, and that would be Echil Hashem, and would also be stingy. It says the Gemara, Rabban, once upon a time, how did it work? Once upon a time, we're going to see donations that went to the Beis Hamikdash with regards to switching things around, similarly to what we just said. Once upon a time, at the beginning, they would leave all of the skins of the kachim of all of the korbanos that were brought in the chamber that was called Beis HaParva. Says the Gemara, says Beis Av, and at night they would divide them amongst the people, the Kohanim of the Beis Av. There were different mishmaros of Kahuna, and the people from that Beis Av, that family of Kohanim, they would come and they would be able to take the skins, meaning the skins would go to the Kohanim that worked in the Beis Hamikdash that week. And the big Kohanim, that means Baalei Zerah, the people with big arms, the lifters, power lifters would come and they would push everybody around, and they would take all of the skins. They would take much more than what they would necessarily be entitled to. It should be distributed equally. They would take them all. It says, so they said, no, we're not going to give them every day. We're only going to distribute these skins once a week on Erev Shabbos. And that way, everybody will be able to line up and they'll be able to come. It won't be like winner takes all every night. It says, and then all of the shifts that would come that worked in the Beis Hamikdash that week of that mishmar. So you had different families that worked each day. And then all of the mishmaros would come and they would all of the families, all of the Batei Av of that mishmar would come that Erev Shabbos, and they would take the skins and distribute them amongst their families. But the leaders would still come and they would take them by force. That doesn't mean the Kohanim Gedolim necessarily. It means the Gedolim Kohanim, Rashi says, Sorim Shebahem, meaning they weren't necessarily the strongest ones. They were the ones that had most political clout. So the owners, meaning the Kohanim, that were on shift at that point in time, instead of putting them in a room, what they did is they dedicated them all l'shamayim. That's how they did this. They would donate them all to the Beis Hamikdash. Meaning, and then nobody would be allowed to take them henceforth. They said, it didn't take a very long time. Before they covered the whole floor of the Beis Hamikdash in gold plates, meaning that all of the money that was gleaned for the Beis Hamikdash, because this is monetary assets that were donated to the Beis Hamikdash, the skins of the korbanos. So instead of that being distributed inequitably amongst the Kohanim, it was donated to the Beis Hamikdash, and the Beis Hamikdash now became very wealthy. Meaning the Beis Hamikdash as a financial entity, the Beis Hamikdash is halachically speaking a legal person. You can donate something to the Beis Hamikdash. There's a legal person in halacha, and the Beis Hamikdash now owns these skins, and you have people in charge of the Beis Hamikdash that would would have fiduciary responsibility over the assets of the Beis Hamikdash, and they would sell the skins and make money. They would get gold to be able to tile the floor in gold. And how thick was the gold? Shem amma al amma. Each plate was 1 amma by an amma, so 1 cubit by 1 cubit. Dinar, and it was the thickness of a gold dinar. So that's a significant amount of gold. Dinar zav. And on the when the yantivs would come around, they would stack them, meaning they would fold them and they would put this stack of gorgeous gold plates on a step on Harabais, meaning in a very visible place. So that the everybody should be able to see that the beautiful work of the Beis Hamikdash, and there was no imperfection of them. Hold on, let's just send the link here. Some of the Chevra were asking. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Okay, says the Gemara. Okay, Tana. It was thought in a brayso as follows. Abishal says, there were these sycamore beams in Yericho, and big guys would come and they would chop them. Amdu Baalim Vigdushim Shemaim, the owners came and they dedicated them to Shemaim, meaning they gave it to the Beis Hamikdash. Alehem Al Yosef about them and those that are like them. Amar Abishal ben Butnis Mishum Abba Yosef ben Chanin, says Abishal, the son of Butnis, in the name of Abba Yosef ben Chanin, Oili mi beis baitav, woe to me from the house of Baitas, Oili me alasan, woe to me from their sticks. What they used to, they would use their sticks to smack people. Or Oili me alasan means from their leadership. They were in charge of things and they had sticks of leadership. Oili mi beis Chanin, woe to me from the house of Chanin. Oili mi lechish asan, woe to me from their whisperings. Meaning they would be conspiring. Only me base kachos, woe to me from the house of kachos. Only me kulmusam, woe to me from their pens, from that the quills that they wrote decrees. Only me base Yishmael ben Pavi, woe to me from the house of Yishmael ben Pavi. Only me egroi fun from their fists. They were very strong. Shayu kahanim gedolim, they were kahanim gedolim. Benem gizbarim, and their sons were the treasurers of the Beis Hamikdash, ve'chatnem Amar Kalin, and their sons-in-laws are the trustees. And their servants are those that beat the nation with sticks. They beat the people with sticks. They are the enforcers. So this whole thing was nepotism. So that's what Abishal says. Woe to me from all of these people that have forced people to not be able to get what belongs to them appropriately because they couldn't fight with strength and power and money and violence. Tana Rabban, the Rabban told in the following brayso. Arbet Tzavcha Ezra. Ezra, sorry, not Ezra. The Azar. There were 4 cries of the Azar of the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash cried 4 times. Rishon, the first cry, Tzu'u mikan b'nei Eli, the get out, children of Eli, shetimu es heichal Hashem, because you have impurified the heichal of Hashem. This was in the days of the Mishkan. The Mishkan in Shiloh, where the sons of Eli were acting inappropriately. So the Mishkan itself, the Mikdash, screams out, get out. Va'od Savcha, and the Beis Hamikdash also screams, Tzei mikan Yisachar ish Kfar Barkai. Yisachar of Kfar Barkai should get out. Why? Because he honors himself in Mechalel Kodesh Shemaim and desecrates the Kodesh Shemaim, desecrates the Karbanis, to have a Korech Yodeh B'Shirai, because he would wrap his hands with these silk gloves, and he would do the avodah because he didn't want to touch the blood and the meat of the korbanos. It's not nice that I should touch these things. So he was mezalzel, he was denigrating to the Kodesh Shemaim in order to provide his own, to preserve and provide for his own covenant. But the Azar also screamed out, gates, lift up your heads, Yishmael ben Pavi. So Yishmael ben Pavi should enter. Sorry, not ben Pavi, ben Paichi. Talmid shel Pinchas, the Talmid of Pinchas, v'yishamish bekehuna gedala, and he should be the Kohen Gadol, meaning this is somebody that's worthy of having as the Kohen Gadol. Rashi says, Kosher haya, aval anshi beisai hayi ba'al Israel, he was worthwhile having, but the people in his mishpacha not so much. This is va'otzav chazar in the Beis Hamikdash also screamed to Ushar Sheichem, lift up your gates, lift up your heads. V'yikanas Yochanan ben Arbai, Talmid shel Pinkai. Yochanan ben Arbai should come in the Talmud of Pinkai. Why? Let him eat from the kochim of Shemaim. The Beis Hamikdash wanted Yochanan ben Arbai to come in. Amar Allah, they said, Al Yochanan ben Arbai, the son of Narbai, that he would eat 300 calves, 300 karbanos, and drink 300 barrels of wine. And he would eat 40 sa of young birds bikinuch suda for the at the end of the meal. Amru, they said, Kol Yom Shel Yochanan ben Arbai, all of the days of Yochanan ben Arbai, lo nimsa noisa b'mikdash. There was never nobody ever violated the prohibition of noisa in the Beis Hamikdash. That was never a thing that happened. So the Beis Hamikdash is saying, we really want this. The Beis Hamikdash is saying, we want this person. We want these. We want this person to come in. Now, Rashi points out that doesn't mean that we're talking about a gluttonous fellow. What's going on? Firstly, the Maharal writes that anytime that you have the number 300, it means that there's this is a guzma. It's an exaggeration. But what's happening? Rashi says, Shahayu migadel bebeisa kahanim harbe. No, he had a huge family of kahanim. So whenever there was any korbanos in the Beis Hamikdash, he made sure that his family, first and foremost, they didn't have snacks, they didn't have treats, they had korbanos. He made sure that the korbanos were all eaten appropriately, kedas v'chadin, and that's why the Beis Hamikdash was so excited that he should be there. Says the Gemara, my salke bei Yisachar ish kfar barkai. What happened to this Yisachar of kfar barkai? Says the Gemara, the Yisachar of kfar barkai, going back to what we had said, where the Beis Hamikdash says, get out, Yisachar of Kfar Barkai, because he's wearing gloves instead of working the Beis Hamikdash, instead of touching the korbanos. So Malka says, Yasi, there was a king and queen that were sitting. Malka Amr, the king says, Gediyai, goat meat is better. Goat meat is the best meat. Malka Amr, and the queen says, Imriyai, lamb is better. Meaning you want venison, you want mutton, which is better? They're having machlokes. Amru Mikan Moichet. They said, who's going to settle our debate? Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol will settle the debate. The Kamasa Karbanos Kol Yoma, because he offers Karbanos all the time. He's in the meat business. Asa Ihu. So he came. This Kohen Gadol came. Says the Gemara, Achva Biyadi, top of Nun Zayin Amud base. This is our Amud for today. Achva Biyadi, and he pointed with his hands. What did he point to? He says, Ech. Like, what are you fighting about? If a goat was better, it would have been the korban tamid. Then the Torah would have said you should bring, but the Torah doesn't say to bring goats. The Torah says you should bring keves, you should bring a sheep. Amr Malka, the king says, Hoil v'loy havalei emas ad malchza. Since he had no fear for royalty, so disdainful towards the king. Nifsaku le imine, cut off his right hand. When he managed to bribe them, so they cut off his left hand instead. I mean, the people that were in charge of cutting off his hand. So Shama Malko and the king heard about this bribe, that he got away with only his left hand being cut off, and he says, No, come back, and he cut off his right hand as well. Amr Rav Yosef says, Brich Rachmanan de Ashkel Yisachar Ish Kfar Barkai le mitar fesei mine behai alma. Blessed is Hashem, the merciful one, who punished, that took away from Yisachar of Kfar Barkai in this world. He took he paid him, made him pay off in this world, because that way in the Olam HaEmes, he'd be able to go straight to Gan Eden. That his two hands that were used, that should have been used for the karbanos, and instead were used to be mechayed himself. He didn't want to touch the karbanos, so he was punished in this world. Amar of Asher says, Yisachar ish Kfar Barkai loy tana masnisin. Yisachar of Kfar Barkai never learned a Mishnah. Didn't learn. He wasn't a Talmid Chacham. Ditnan, because in the Mishnah it says, Rabbi Shimon taught, Kvasim kadmin leizim b'chol makom, because lambs come before goats everywhere. Meaning, whenever you have two psukim, whenever you have a pasuk that mentions keves, it mentions izim, goats and sheep. So always you have Yisachar kvasim kadmin leizim. You always have goats that come. You always have sheep before goats. Everywhere. Is that because they are better? Because they are the best? Says Talmud Laimar. Pasuk says Im keves yavi karbanai. That if he brings a lamb as a sacrifice, means Im keves yavi karbanai. If he brings it, Im keves, Rashi says Im keves mikan hikdim siir lekivsa. The first thing that the pasuk mentions separately is isim, and then im keves yavi. If he wants, he can bring a keves. What does it tell you? That both of them are equal. Both of them are valuable. And if he would have learned Mishnah, if Yisachar bar Barkai would have learned some Mishnahs, and the king and the queen would have said, which one is better? What would he have said? It's a machlaikas, the best Jewish answer in the world. He would have said chavra. Both of you have a valid opinion. It's a machlaikas. You're both right. Ravina says, I feel a mikra nami lakari. I clearly didn't even learn chumash. Tichsiv im keves im eis. The pasuk says, you can bring a keves, you can bring an ace, you can bring a lamb, you can bring a goat. Ibai keves leise. If you want to bring a keves, you can bring it. And ibai keves leise, ibai ace leise. If you want to bring a goat, you can bring a goat. Neither one is preferable than the other. And if you would have learned chumash well, or probably seen some chumash, but if you had learned it well, if you had paid attention to the psukim, then he would have saved both of his hands, and he would have had the right. Probably would have had the right intentions in bringing the korbanos as well. And we will continue with the 5th parak of Maseches Pesachim tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing everybody then. Shavua tov mevarach, a good vach, and we will see you later.